Have you ever noticed yourself gripping the handrail a little tighter when going downstairs, or pausing for just a moment before standing up from your favorite chair? If you're like most men over 60, these small hesitations might be happening more often than you'd like to admit. The unsettling truth is that balance problems don't just appear overnight. They creep in slowly, one wobbly moment at a time, until what used to be second nature becomes a source of anxiety and concern. But here's what might surprise you. Most men aren't losing their balance simply because they're getting older. Instead, it's usually because of 5 preventable mistakes that quietly chip away at stability over months and years. Today, I'm going to walk you through each of these mistakes, explain why they happen, and more importantly, show you exactly what you can do to turn things around. These aren't complicated medical procedures or expensive treatments. They're straightforward changes that any man can make, starting today. By the end of this conversation, you'll understand why your balance might not be what it used to be, and you'll have a clear roadmap for getting back that steady confidence you remember. Whether you're worried about your own stability or you're thinking about someone you care about, these insights could make all the difference between a fearful future and one filled with freedom and independence. The first mistake that's robbing men of their balance is something most of us never think about until it's almost too late. We're slowly but surely letting the muscles in our legs waste away. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Of course, my legs aren't as strong as they were when I was 30. And you're right, but here's the thing that catches most men off guard. The rate at which we lose muscle isn't set in stone. It's actually something we have tremendous control over, but only if we understand what's happening and why it matters so much. Starting around age 40, the human body begins losing muscle mass at a rate of about 3 to 8% per decade. That might not sound like much, but when you consider that your legs contain some of the largest and most important muscles in your body, even small losses can have dramatic effects on your ability to stay upright and stable. These muscles aren't just for walking or climbing stairs, they're constantly working to keep you balanced, making tiny adjustments throughout the day that you're not even aware of. Think about the last time you had to catch yourself from stumbling. What saved you wasn't luck or quick thinking. It was your leg muscles firing rapidly to shift your weight and restore your balance. But when those muscles are weak or slow to respond, that split-second recovery becomes much harder, sometimes impossible. I remember talking to my neighbour Frank, who's 73 and used to work construction his whole life. Frank always prided himself on being strong and steady on his feet. But after retiring and spending more time in his recliner, he started noticing that getting up felt harder, and walking to the mailbox left him feeling unsteady. His wake-up call came when he nearly fell getting out of the shower one morning. The grab bar saved him, but it made him realize that his legs just weren't supporting him the way they used to. Frank didn't need to become a bodybuilder or start running marathons. He just needed to wake up those sleeping muscles with simple, consistent movement. He started with basic exercises like standing up from his chair without using his hands, walking to the end of his driveway and back, and doing simple calf raises while watching the morning news. The change didn't happen overnight, but within a few weeks, Frank noticed he felt more solid on his feet. Within a few months, that underlying nervousness about falling had largely disappeared. The key insight here is that your legs are use them or lose them muscles. The good news is that even if you've lost some strength, it's never too late to start building it back. Your muscles have an amazing ability to respond to gentle, consistent challenge at any age. The second mistake that's undermining men's balance is something hiding right under our noses, or should I say, under our feet. We're walking around in shoes that have no business supporting us anymore. Now, I get it. A good pair of shoes can be like an old friend. They're broken in just right, they're comfortable, and throwing them away feels wasteful, especially if there's still some life left in them. But here's what most men don't realize. As shoes age, they don't just look worn, they actually become dangerous. The tread that once gripped the ground starts to smooth out. The sides that used to hold your foot securely begin to stretch and sag. The cushioning that absorbed impact compresses down until it's practically useless. What once kept you steady now makes every step a potential hazard. I see this all the time with men who pride themselves on getting their money's worth out of their shoes. They'll wear the same pair of sneakers or work boots for years, long past the point where they're doing any good. Some guys even develop a strange attachment to old slippers or sandals that flop around their feet, creating the perfect conditions for tripping or rolling an ankle. The psychology behind this is interesting. Many men see buying new shoes as frivolous or unnecessary, especially if the old ones aren't completely falling apart. Others worry that new shoes will feel stiff or uncomfortable, so they stick with what they know. But what they don't consider is the hidden cost of this decision. Every day spent in worn-out, unsupportive shoes is a day spent training your body to be less stable. I think about my friend Robert, who's 69 and had been wearing the same pair of leather dress shoes to church for nearly 15 years. They were comfortable, sure, but the soles were worn completely smooth. After slipping twice in the church parking lot on slightly damp pavement, his wife finally convinced him to get fitted for a new pair with proper tread and support. Robert was amazed at the difference. Not only did he feel more secure walking, but his feet and legs felt less tired at the end of the day. Good footwear is one of the simplest and most immediate ways to improve your balance and reduce your fall risk. Look for shoes with non-slip soles, proper arch support, and a secure fit that doesn't allow your foot to slide around inside. If you have specific foot problems or concerns, don't guess. Visit a store that specializes in comfort and safety footwear, or talk to your doctor about what type of shoes would work best for your situation. Your feet are your foundation. When that foundation is shaky, everything else becomes unsteady too. Investing in proper footwear isn't vanity or luxury. It's one of the smartest things you can do to protect your independence and keep yourself safe. If you're still watching and finding this helpful, let me know by commenting "Balance Matters" down below. And if this is your first time here, consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. Your support helps us keep creating content that makes a real difference in people's lives. The third mistake that's quietly sabotaging men's balance is one that many of us make without even thinking about it. We're letting our vision and hearing slowly deteriorate without taking action. Now, you might wonder what your eyes and ears have to do with staying upright, but the connection is more crucial than most people realize. Balance isn't just about strong legs and good shoes. It's actually a complex system that relies on your brain receiving accurate information from three main sources: your inner ears, your vision, and the nerve sensors in your feet and legs. When any one of these systems starts sending fuzzy or incorrect signals, your brain has to work harder to keep you stable. When two or more systems are compromised, staying balanced becomes a real challenge. Many men notice their vision changing gradually over the years. Maybe they need to hold the newspaper a little farther away, or they find themselves squinting to read street signs. Others notice that conversations in noisy restaurants become harder to follow, or they need to turn up the TV volume more than they used to. These changes often happen so slowly that we adapt without realizing how much we've lost. But here's what's happening that you can't see. When your vision gets blurry or your depth perception becomes poor, you can't accurately judge distances or spot potential hazards in your path. That small step down from the sidewalk to the street might not look as deep as it actually is. The edge of that rug might blend into the floor pattern. These visual miscalculations set you up for trips and stumbles. Hearing loss affects balance in a different but equally important way. The inner ear contains tiny structures that help control balance and spatial orientation. When hearing declines, these balance mechanisms can be affected too. Plus, when you can't hear well, you miss important audio cues that help you navigate safely. You might not hear someone calling out a warning or notice the sound of your own footsteps changing as you walk from carpet to tile. I remember my friend Eddie, who's 75 and worked in manufacturing for 40 years. The noise from the factory floor had gradually damaged his hearing, but he was too stubborn to admit it or do anything about it. His family kept telling him he needed hearing aids, but Eddie insisted he was fine. It wasn't until he failed to hear his wife calling out that there was a step down in an unfamiliar restaurant that he took a hard fall and ended up in the emergency room. That incident finally convinced Eddie to get his hearing checked and fitted for hearing aids. The improvement wasn't just in his ability to hear conversations. He found that he felt more aware of his surroundings and more confident moving around in unfamiliar places. He could hear his own footsteps clearly, which helped him judge different surfaces and terrain. The same principles apply to vision. Regular eye exams can catch changes in prescription, identify developing cataracts, or spot other conditions that affect sight. Many men put off eye appointments because they think their current glasses are good enough. But what they don't realize is that small changes in vision can have big impacts on stability and safety. Getting your vision and hearing checked regularly isn't about vanity or luxury. It's about giving your brain the clear, accurate information it needs to keep you balanced and safe. Don't wait until problems become obvious. By then, you may have already adapted to compromised senses in ways that put you at risk. The fourth mistake that's stealing stability from older men is one that I see all the time, and it breaks my heart because it's so easily preventable. We're skipping the simple exercises that keep our balance sharp and our bodies flexible. Most men grew up thinking that real exercise meant heavy lifting, competitive sports, or intense cardio workouts. But as we age, the most important exercises become the gentle, steady movements that keep our bodies coordinated and responsive. Balance and flexibility aren't things you either have or don't have. They're skills that require practice and maintenance, just like any other ability. When we stop challenging these systems, they gradually decline. Your reaction time slows down, your core muscles weaken, and your joints become stiff. Before you know it, simple movements that used to be automatic now require careful thought and planning. The problem is that most men don't realize they're losing these abilities until they really need them. You might feel perfectly fine sitting in your chair or walking on familiar flat surfaces. But then you need to turn quickly to avoid something, or step over an obstacle, or recover from a small stumble. And suddenly you discover that your body isn't as responsive as you expected. What's particularly frustrating is that maintaining good balance and flexibility doesn't require expensive equipment or gym memberships. Some of the most effective exercises can be done at home using nothing more than a sturdy chair for support. Simple movements like standing on one foot while brushing your teeth, practicing heel to toe, walking down a hallway, or doing gentle stretches while watching television can make a tremendous difference. I think about my friend Harold, who's 81 and used to be an avid golfer. When arthritis started affecting his joints, Harold gradually became less active. He stopped doing the stretching routine he used to follow religiously and quit challenging his balance with the practice swings and weight shifts that golf naturally provided. Over time, Harold noticed that he felt stiffer and less steady on his feet. It wasn't until his doctor recommended some basic balance exercises that Harold realized how much he'd lost. Starting with simple movements like standing up from a chair without using his hands, and progressing to more challenging exercises like standing on one foot or walking in a straight line, Harold found that his confidence and stability gradually returned. The beauty of balance and flexibility work is that you can start wherever you are and progress at your own pace. Even if you have arthritis, old injuries or other limitations, most exercises can be modified to work for your situation. The key is consistency. A few minutes every day is far more valuable than an occasional longer session. These exercises don't just prevent falls, they also help with posture, reduce joint pain, and can actually improve your mood and energy levels. When you feel steady and flexible, you're more likely to stay active and engaged in the activities you enjoy. The fifth and final mistake that's putting men at risk is one that hits close to home, literally. We're living in environments that are accidents waiting to happen, and we've become so familiar with our surroundings that we don't even see the dangers anymore. The statistics are sobering. Most falls don't happen on hiking trails or unfamiliar terrain. They happen at home, in the places where we feel most comfortable and let our guard down. Think about your own home for a moment. How many loose area rugs do you have that could slide under your feet? Are there electrical cords running across walkways? Do you have adequate lighting in hallways and stairways, especially for nighttime trips to the bathroom? Are your stairs equipped with sturdy handrails on both sides? Does your shower or bathtub have grab bars and non-slip surfaces? These might seem like minor details, but they're actually the difference between a safe home and a dangerous one. The challenge is that we become blind to these hazards over time. That loose rug has been there for years without causing problems, so we stop thinking of it as a threat. The dim lighting in the hallway doesn't bother us during the day, so we forget how treacherous it becomes at night. There's also a psychological resistance that many men have to making their homes look medical or institutional. The idea of installing grab bars or removing beloved furniture can feel like giving in to old age or admitting weakness. But the truth is exactly the opposite. Taking control of your environment is a sign of wisdom and strength. It's about staying in your home safely and independently for as long as possible. I helped my neighbour Tom, who's 78, do a safety assessment of his house after he had a close call with a throw rug near his front door. Tom was initially resistant to making changes, worried that grab bars would make his bathroom look like a hospital. But after we found some attractive modern safety fixtures and made other subtle improvements like better lighting and secured rugs, Tom realized that his home actually felt more comfortable and welcoming, not less. The process doesn't have to be overwhelming or expensive. Start with the most obvious hazards and work your way through the house room by room. Remove or secure loose rugs, improve lighting, clear clutter from walkways, and add support where it's needed most. Consider asking a family member or friend to help you see your home with fresh eyes. Sometimes it takes an outside perspective to spot the dangers we've stopped noticing. Every improvement you make is an investment in your future independence. A small change today could prevent a life-altering fall tomorrow. Your home should be your sanctuary, not an obstacle course. As we wrap up our discussion about these 5 critical mistakes, I want you to remember something important. Recognizing yourself in one or more of these patterns isn't a sign of failure or inevitable decline. It's actually the first step toward taking back control of your balance and your independence. Every single one of these issues can be addressed with simple, practical changes that any man can make. Maybe you've realized that your leg muscles need more attention, or perhaps you've been putting off replacing those worn-out shoes. Maybe it's time for that eye exam you've been postponing, or you're ready to add some gentle balance exercises to your daily routine. Or perhaps you're looking around your home with new eyes, seeing potential hazards that you want to address. Whatever resonates most with you, remember that small steps lead to big changes. You don't have to transform everything overnight. Pick one area that feels most urgent or achievable and start there. Build momentum with early success, then tackle the next challenge. The goal isn't to turn back the clock or become the person you were decades ago. It's to be the best, safest, most confident version of yourself at whatever age you are right now. Every day that you feel steady on your feet is a day you can spend focused on what matters most to you, whether that's time with family, pursuing hobbies, traveling, or simply enjoying the satisfaction of moving through your day with confidence and ease. Your balance, your safety, and your independence are worth protecting. The choice is yours, and the time is now. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Which of these 5 mistakes hit closest to home for you? What's one change you're planning to make after watching this? Your stories and insights help other viewers realize they're not alone in facing these challenges. If this video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel. We're committed to creating practical, honest content that helps men age with strength, dignity, and independence. Ring that notification bell so you don't miss future videos that could make a difference in your life or the life of someone you care about. Thanks for spending this time with me today. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.